Hi everyone, welcome. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar on OvrC. My name is Heidi Nilsson. I'm on the marketing team at SnapAV and I'll be the moderator for today's webinar. Before we get started, I want to let you all know that we'll have some time at the end of the presentation for a Q&A. So please send in your questions at any time throughout the presentation in the question and answer panel on the right side of your screen, and we'll take those at the end. And now I will turn it over to today's presenter, Kenny Kim.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kenny Kim, and this topic of this webinar is Introduction to OvrC. For the next 60 minutes, I'll give you a brief overview of OvrC and walk you through a live demonstration of the platform. We'll also give you a preview of a few upcoming features that we are currently working on, including the end-user app. My objective of this webinar is to introduce you to OvrC and discuss how you can leverage it to reduce your cost of service and deliver better services to your clients. We'll leave about 5 to 10 minutes for Q&A at the end of the webinar, but please use the question field to submit any question throughout the session. My colleagues, Matt Gomer and James Zabel, will address your questions as they come up. My name is Kenny Kim. I'm the category manager for OvrC at SnapAV. I'm responsible for the strategy and future direction of the platform. Prior to joining the SnapAV team, I spent 7 years at AT&T in various roles, ranging from marketing, strategy, business development, and operations. For the last 3 years, I helped launch AT&T Digital Life, a home automation and security service across the country. I fell in love with the home automation market. I joined the SnapAV family to evolve OvrC that could help you deliver amazing services to your clients. I believe the following 3 are indicative of the change that we are seeing. First, internet speeds in the US have tripled in the last 3 years, and gigabit internet is expanding quickly to keep up with the growing demands of bandwidth. The network is a backbone of many services that consumers use in the home today, including listening to music, socializing with others, playing games, and watching videos. In fact, streaming video accounts for more than 70% of the internet usage during peak hours in the home today. Netflix and YouTube combined make up over 50%. People are consuming content differently than they did a decade ago. By year 2020, there will be 28 billion connected devices globally. Along with the changing behavior of consumers, the way they interact with products are also changing. Increasingly, products are more intelligent and rely on a connectivity to the cloud. All these trends point to the changing technology landscape and how consumers use it in their daily lives. Along with these trends, I think you would all agree with me that your role as the AV integrator and the scope of the service you provide have also evolved. In the past, clients turned to you to install a self-contained, relatively static audio-video systems. That has now expanded to everything from home automation, security, surveillance, to even networking. The good news is that you can sell them more stuff, but the bad news is that you have to work a lot harder to maintain them. The systems are not self-contained anymore, as many products are dependent on one another. They are also increasingly complex, requiring more information and time to resolve issues. Products like a vehicle or a large appliance need regular maintenance to work reliably and to maximize the longevity of the product. It's not if a product malfunctions, but when. And most importantly, the client's expectations have changed. They expect their one trusted and now a very busy advisor, which is you, the integrator, to manage and maintain the entire system. The end result of all this is that service calls are more frequent, expensive, and time-consuming, often requiring expensive truck rolls to resolve issues. The clients are unhappy as it is costly to pay for truck rolls and the long downtimes. It also takes away the time that you could be spending installing another system. Please take a quick 20 seconds to answer another poll question that we want to throw up. The question is, which 2 of the following make up the bulk of your service calls today? Thank you for answering the poll questions. It's surprising, your answers. 65% of you said issues with third-party devices that you didn't install. Very few of the issues that are actually related to your installation, you guys are all perfect, and issues of the devices that you actually installed. Very interesting. So it's a lot of third-party devices and issues that are out of your control that are causing all the service calls. Now, to address the more complex issues, there are a wide array of tools that you can use, including applications, manufacturer solutions, or even third-party cloud solutions. The problem is that these solutions are usually good at really one thing. Blue Bolt for power, Unify for networking, Thing for scanning, Ahiji for network access, etc. This forces you to jump in and out of all these tools to diagnose and solve a problem. Now, imagine a world where you can proactively be notified when there are issues detected in a client system. No matter where you are, you can instantly access the client system using your mobile phone. With a few clicks, diagnose and resolve the most common issues, often before the client even recognizes there is one, all from a single dashboard without having to roll a truck. What does this do to your cost of operations? How about your responsiveness and support? This line of thinking was a genesis and vision behind OvrC, a remote monitoring and management platform, allowing you to instantly access your installed SnapAV products from anywhere, using your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. OvrC is an embedded solution, so the connected products that you buy from SnapAV already come with this capability out of the box. As soon as you install the device on the network, it communicates with the OvrC cloud without any action on your part. All you have to do is to claim the device in OvrC, which is basically letting the cloud know that the device you just installed belongs to you. This also does not require any port forwarding, which is painful. We developed OvrC ground up internally, focused around features that improve your ability to remotely service your clients and address your specific pain points. It launched in mid-2014, supporting only Wattbox. But since then, we've expanded the ecosystem to support over 50 different SKUs, including Arachnus networking and Luma surveillance products. And we continue to expand it. Soon, we'll even support our amplifiers and IP cameras. All the OvrC-enabled products come with the following key features, including getting notification if a product fell offline or something happened to the device, resetting device to solve common issues, update firmware on any OvrC-enabled products remotely, change device settings, access the local user interface of devices to get to the full capabilities, see activity logs, and in addition to all of this, we enable features specific to the device. For example, for Wattbox, allowing you to control the individual outlets manually or on a schedule. As I go through the demonstration, we'll hit on some of these product features. An added benefit to you is that we constantly roll out new features on a monthly basis, driven by your feedback. And most importantly, it is free. This is a free solution. People often associate free with cheap or a simple solution, but actually, OvrC is an extremely robust and intricate solution using the latest in technology. We currently have over 8,000 users managing 100,000 devices at over 40,000 locations. And the platform is less than 2 years old. You do the math. Let me now jump into the demonstration of the platform. I won't be able to cover every single feature, but it could give you an idea of what OvrC could do. When you first log into OvrC, this is your list of your customers. It'll help you organize all of your customers and quickly find phone numbers and any devices that are offline as you go through your list. Let me show you how easy it is to add a new customer. Just click in the name, add a phone number, and you can enter different locations, as many as you need for the customer. We'll add in home and an additional location, maybe a beach house. Now going back to that screen, you see that the new customer has been added with OvrC Webinar. If you click on the location, that customer, you can go into the different locations. I'm at the beach house now. People often ask how difficult it is to add the first device. Well, let me show you. You can click the plus button for device. All you need to know is the MAC address of the first device. Find the device. It will ask you also for the serial number, which is also on the device for verification purposes. And once you submit it, you can name the device and save. What you just see in front of you now is you told OvrC where the first device in that location is, It scans everything on the network and finds OvrC products that are on that network. This is called our bulk add feature. And I can open, there's 15 networking devices here. You click on that. Let's say, oh, the first one should be on that location. I can add it. And it will pull everything into that location. That's all you have to do. It's only a few clicks that allows you to get started. Now let me jump into one of our demo accounts. Again, here you can see different locations that this customer is in. We have a feature called the notes where you can add different notes into the system. Right now it has the address, what kind of internet that the customer has. You can also add things like, customer prefers texting. You save it. Then everyone that logs into this customer's home could access the same notes. When you log into this view, you have the full list of all the devices that are in the home. You can sort these devices by IP address, device name, or even manufacturer. You can also filter these devices by those that are online and offline. To quickly jump to the one that's offline, you will filter here. If you have a lot of devices, you can also search for a device. For example, I want to look for an access point. Quickly pulls up the 2 access points on this network. Another neat feature that we have is if a product has a firmware that needs to be updated, as you go through down the list, you can see the firmware update button available for those that are ready to be updated. So for example, if I click on this firmware update button, it'll tell you what version you're on and what the new version is. And it'll talk you through different notes of what that firmware does. And you can update it straight from here. One of the nice things here is that we designed this firmware update process so it won't really break the device even if it fails. If it fails, it'll send you a notification saying that the firmware update has failed, but it won't break the device. You just have to try it again. Another nice feature is for all the devices that are connected to OvrC, if you click this More button, there's a lot of different information that you wouldn't readily have. A lot of you keep track of this in a different, maybe SharePoint or an Excel spreadsheet, but all of this is available to you, including the notes, customer information, device information, MAC address, service tag, model number, what firmware version, and even some of the networking information. Now let's jump into some of the devices to go over the features. The first one I'm going to jump into is the first product line that we launched, which is Wattbox. So I'm going to go into this Wattbox 700. Before I go through all these Wattbox specific features, I want to remind you that there are a number of features that are common across all of our products. For example, device status. This modal is the same within all the different product lines based on telling you what the performance of the product is, what's the status. Wattbox specific, it tells you it's online, what's the voltage on this Wattbox, how much power it's consuming. It's also pinging different websites to make sure it's connected to the internet. All the products also have this configure tab, and the list here is different between products based on product specific things, but you can configure your products here, changing your settings. Activity tab is also available for all of our products. This lists all the different things and events that happen with your product in a historical timeline. It will really help you troubleshoot if there's any issues that you're going back to in time. This reboot button here is also available for all of our products. If anything funky is happening with your device, you can click this button and reboot the device. So Wattbox specific, in addition to all those common features that are same across all the different products, Wattbox specific, you can do outlet controls. Each of the outlets on the Wattbox can be individually controlled and named. So I have modem, router, all these types of products that are connected to it. You can reboot all of these individually. So for example, I'm going to reboot this TV. You could also turn devices on and off. Let me show you some of the things you can do on the configure screen for the Wattbox. So on the outlets, we allow you to change the mode of the outlet. For example, this router, it's a networking device. You never want to turn that off, because if you do, you'll not be able to access any of the devices again. So you put that on the network device mode, which is only reset only, or other devices, you enable both. One of the really nice features on WAPbox that a lot of people don't know is the auto reboot capability. So for example, I can set my router to ping the internet. Let me go to my router. I could ping specific different websites, and if all of those pings fail, then it recognizes that the house, the internet is down. So it would auto reboot when it does that. Another nice feature is a lot of dealers tell us that Apple TV, Roku, and some of these devices kind of lock up every once in a while. So we can allow you to set schedules. So for example, adding a new schedule. I want to reset Apple TV. Clicked the outlet, that's the Apple TV. And then I want it to reset, and I want to repeat every Sunday at 3 a.m. Now you added a new schedule, so every Sunday it would recycle the Apple TV when everyone's asleep, and it would clean up that device. Now let's jump into the Ractus router. Again, as I mentioned before, all the kind of common capabilities, we call that the phase 0 capabilities, exist for all of our devices. You can reboot it, you can access the local UI. If a firmware update's available, it'll show up here. You can configure the device, and you get different activities of all the things that happen to this device. On the main screen for the router, you'll see the port status of all the things that's available, all the performance of the different ports, how much bandwidth it's actually pulling. If you go to the bottom list, there's a DHCP clients. It's all the clients that are connected to that network. One of the nice features that we added for the router is that, for example, this WAPbox, if you want to reserve that IP, you can do that with a click of a button here. And if you want to unreserve it, you just click it back out. If you go to the configure screen, there's another capability we added that's really easy for you to access, controlling port forwarding rules. So there's 4 different rules that are set up on this router today. You can easily go into edit it by clicking on this button, change the name, IP address, and you can as easily add a new rule. Another feature we added is the reboot router on schedule. So we've also heard requests that we want to clean up the router, reset it once a week when no one's at home and everyone's sleeping. So that's another schedule you can add. And it's very similar to the WAPbox. The features that you see here are not yet released for the router. It will be released towards end of April, so it's coming soon. Let me show you our access point. Again, this graphing feature and the features down here that you see, these will be available to you by April. So device status shows you if it's online, offline, if the radios are also online, if it has multiple different radios, CPU load and memory usage. These are all important information to let you know the performance of the device and the current status. If you look at the network traffic graph, you see that at 9 a.m. we all came into the office and started using this access point. The blue line is a download graph, and then the black is the upload graph. So you can go and back in time. The use case for this, if the customer ever calls you, say, hey, I had trouble with Netflix at 9 p.m. last night, what happened? You can go back and actually check the status of the network and the bandwidth that it was actually using. Down here, we also have a client list, all the different clients that are attached to that access point with the signal strength on the left, which network ID, the different device names, manufacturer, MAC address, even transmit and receive data so that you can use it to better troubleshoot any issues and resolve any issues. You go to configure. How many times does your customer call you to say, hey, I forgot my password on that SSID. Can you pull that up? I've seen a lot of integrators put that in a notepad or somewhere. This is another way you can manage that. You can actually reset it. So for example, you go to this test network, wireless network. You can change the setting, you can change the name, you can change a different security mode, and you can also change the security passphrase here. So if the customer wants to reset, you can do that for him right through this modal. Let me jump out and show you a PoE switch real quick. This is a Arachnus 24-port PoE switch. Very similar to what you saw through the Wattbox. You can see the port status of each of the ports. If nothing's connected to a port, you'll see a gray. If something's connected, you see blue. If it's connected and it's also pulling power, you'll see a little lightning bolt here. And it'll show you how much wattage it's consuming and the link speed associated with it. Similar to Wattbox, you can individually control these outlets. So for example, I want to reset this specific device connected to port number 3. Click reset, continue. That was quick, it already did that. So the use case for this is if there are any touch screens, access points, or even cameras attached to the PoE switch, this is a good way for you to go reset these devices. Let me jump out real quick and show you an NVR as well. So again, the device status is specific to the device. It's online. It'll show you the status of the hard drive. And if the hard drive has any issues, it will also be something that it would show up here. It'll show you the total recording on the NVR as well as the oldest recording. This is something down here on the channel status that we are continuing to work to update. But if the cameras are connected, that you'll see it's connected. We're working on a feature to add snapshot, so you would know which of these channels are connected and the view that it's seeing. Going back to the account tab, this is a way you can manage which of your employees have access to OvrC, and then you can modify their roles as administrator or technician. So if you add an employee here, you can add a new invite. All you need is their email address, and you can define their roles when you send the invite. And then when you send the invitation, it will show up. So this new user, employee at OvrC.com, is one that we sent, and the technician hasn't confirmed. And you can resend that invite, or you can just cancel it altogether. If we want to make this administrator left the company, and we want to delete it, we can press delete here. And now it's gone. So this is a good way for you to manage who has access to your OvrC account and all the employees that are working in your shop. Notifications. So we have different types of notifications too, in fact. One is in-app notification that are sent from the application, as well as email notification. You can choose to receive both, or you can receive just one of those items. We have a set of global notifications that are across all of our products, which includes disconnect notifications, reconnect notifications, and then firmware update failure. So this goes across all your products. And then we also have a set of notifications that are specific to each device. So for your Wattbox products, if you want to know voltage, current, power is out of range, then you can also receive those notifications. Network devices has its own set of notifications, and we're continuing to add more. We want to make sure these notifications are actually relevant to you and that you can take immediate actions on them. So we're continuing to work on adding new notifications. Now, some of you have asked us in the original registration that you're really jumping on this webinar to see the new features that we're working on. So here it is. First, some of you may have seen this. It's a cameras that we're working on. You can take a quick snapshot from that camera. This is in our conference room. The use case for this is that when you're up on the ladder, you can take a quick snapshot to make sure you get the right field of view. Another device that we're working on is a third-party devices like OvrC controller. This is the MRX20, which you go in. It's not all the information, it's basic information for you to be able to troubleshoot. So CPU usage, the memory usage is actually online. You can actually reboot the device here with the click of this button, and then has information on the IP settings and all those types of things. We're continuing to add additional features to this device, so it's going to actually be useful to you. All right, next. Dealers have told us that 80% of their service calls could be resolved with a simple reboot. which we make available through OvrC, but dealers have asked us to create an end user app that can configure and hand to their clients. This is a benefit to you as it reduces your service calls, and this is a benefit to your clients as it empowers them to fix simple issues instantly if they can't get a hold of you. So let me show you how you do that. First, you go to the Accounts tab, OvrC Home Information. You write in information about your company, which phone number you want the customers to reach out to you, or an email. And you go to the specific customer that you want to enable OvrC Home. You click on this tab. You won't see this on yours today. We're launching this in July. So here, you can create different commands that your customers would see. Let me actually show you what your customers are seeing. So this is my device. This is the end user app that the customers would see. And on the right is the OvrC screen that you have access to manage it. So I want to create a new command. I want to create a command where if the customer presses a button, they can reset an Apple TV. I would pick the location for that customer. I would name the command. Pick an icon that you think would make the most sense. Pick the WAP box that the Apple TV is connected to and the specific outlet. Click Save. Now that added it here. I'm going to refresh this application. Voila. Reset Apple TV. You just created that command. If the customer clicks on that button, it's basically a macro where it resets that specific outlet. They don't need to know that it's on a WAP box or which port it's behind. All they need to know is that they're resetting the Apple TV. So that was just the action. You can also allow multiple different users. If the customer has, their kids that they also want to give access to, you can also allow them to do that here. And on the bottom, it'll give you an activity of all the different things that the customer has done with the application. So coming in here, you'll recognize that your customer has tried to reset Apple TV way too many times. You can just call them and say, hey, I can proactively do that for you by putting it on a schedule. Now, what we have so far is just using the WAP box capability. But imagine all the client-facing capabilities that we can create through the app that you can actually sell. I also mentioned during my presentation that one of our goals is to extend OvrC beyond just SnapAV products. So you might be asking, when are we going to do that? So target is around July. And I will show you a prototype of a product that we call OvrC Hub that does exactly that. I'm going to now jump into my home account. This is my house. You'll see here a device called OvrC Hub. It's a prototype device that you plug in behind your switch or your router. It just needs to be on the network. And once you do, it scans everything on your network. So for devices that you see this specific icon, this little ladder-looking icon, is all the devices that aren't directly talking to OvrC, but through this OvrC Hub is talking to OvrC. Most of my devices are offline. You'll find everything from iPhone, iPad, surveillance products, anything that's connected to the network, it will find. And for those that have a local user interface, you can connect to that local user interface. So what's pulling up is the local UI of my router that's sitting at my house. I can only access this when I'm on the local network, but the OvrC Hub allows me to access it remotely. Additional things that Hub will allow you to do is get all the information about a device. You can have it to send you notification if any of these devices fall offline. I wouldn't really care if an iPhone falls offline because it comes out of the network very often, but for this router, it's absolutely important. You get the MAC address, LAN IP. You can also ping the device. 9 milliseconds, that's very good. Some of these devices are ones that the hub has seen, but it's been off the network. So for example, I had a visitor, Judy was visiting me past in the last weekend, and it's been offline for 4 days. I don't really need to see this in my house, so I'm going to just hide this. Perfect. Now that's gone. So you can manage your list of devices that the OvrC Hub found. In addition, there's been a lot of, as you guys mentioned in the poll question, a lot of the issues that you find are outside of your control. One in particular is the ISP speeds. So with this device, you can run speed tests. Let's see what I'm actually getting at my home today. Not too bad. I'm paying for about 60 megs and about 20, so not too bad. You can set this on different intervals, and we actually recorded in OvrC, and in July we'll have the ability to record it for you on a graph so that you have a historical graph of all the different speed tests. What you can also do is a LAN test. So you can ping all the devices that OvrC is talking to, go through each of this device and ping it. So pinged router at 23 milliseconds. All the other devices are offline. It's just going through in a circle. So this is a quick way to test the health of the network in the house. This is just the beginning. We're adding features that would enable you to manage a full ecosystem of products, SnapAV or non-SnapAV, in a client's home. To wrap up, OvrC is really a remote management solution designed for the integrators. It's incredibly easy to use, free, and can enable you to significantly lower your cost of service by eliminating unnecessary truck rolls and deliver fast and more responsive services to your customers. And as you can see, we are just getting started. Sign up and join the other 8,000 users to improve your operations and your bottom line. To get started, you can go to OvrC.com.
All right, thanks, Kenny. Well, that's all we have time for today. And on behalf of OvrC and SnapAV, thanks for taking the time to join us. Have a great day and happy installing.